Hello once again, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Expressions the Podcast. Today, we are talking about a very, very, very interesting topic on how AI, artificial intelligence, is changing the face of creativity. So, what's going on, guys? I haven't seen y'all in a while. It feels I'm in my new office now, so I'm just kind of using all my new shit and gadgets and whatever. It's cool. I feel like I've been waiting for this moment for the last since I got on the show.
I feel the energy. I feel it coming off you.
Good, I love
Yeah,
it.
that's awesome.
Stand up. I can walk around. It's great.
I'd stand up and walk around too, but I'm only wearing my comfy pants, so I'm going to sit.
Nice.
Oh man. Anyways, I'm gonna say hi to each and every one of you. I'm gonna start with Mark because Mark, it looks like you're in the Bahamas there.
Well, no, actually, since we're talking about artificial intelligence, I'm using a generator now. I'm actually sitting in my office at home, but this whole background is generated with artificial intelligence. So I'm playing with it right now, and the sunburn and everything. Actually, I'm lying. It's 6 p.m. for me. My wife and I right now are in British Columbia, beautiful British Columbia. We're staying with some friends. This is the view from their deck, and we're just all.
Oh, and he's gone.
And gone.
Technology fail.
Statement.
I can just see him right now, like, oh, God damn it.
He's like, oh, shit.
He'll be back. You know he'll be back.
Mark's in BC.
He's so cool.
That now for sure.
Here he is. Hang on. He's back.
Oh, he's coming back.
Yeah, it didn't take long. There he is again.
I'm back.
Yeah, back.
It's the AI. It just glitched again, But no. Did you start on somebody else? Or do you want me to finish?
No, keep going.
All right, awesome. Yeah, no, we're in beautiful British Columbia, staying at a friend's house. We came out to for a wedding, which was on Friday, on June the 30th. So we did that on Friday. We were actually, Chris and I were the photographers. So it's a long day. It was a great day. Epic location. I know I sent you guys some pictures. And it's, you know what, when you're going to retire from something, do it epic. And that was my last wedding I'm shooting. I'm done with weddings now. It's
permanent, done.
It's going to take somebody extremely special to pull me out of retirement, I'll tell you. Again, but no, you got point down there. Aurora's a much better portrait photographer than I am, and she's closer.
She's getting married soon. It's going to take at least another 40 years until I get a ring on something. So.
But yeah, so today we just went exploring, went up to beautiful Panorama, and saw the sights up there, and it was good. It's been a great holiday. I'm looking forward to going home, but not looking forward to going back to work yet. So give me another week, and I'll be like, okay, I'm ready to go back to work.
The nicest thing though is when you go home. I mean, you may not have the mountains, but you still have country, and you still have nice fresh air.
We do have some mountains in Thunder Bay. We've got one they call Fraggle Rock. I mean Mount McKay. So it's good. It's a good little lump, but it's not as picturesque as BC. This is absolutely gorgeous out here.
Have the forest fires been affecting you at all?
No, there's none in the area. No smoke or anything. So
no,
yeah,
that just comes our way.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, even the fire bans have been lifted. We were at the bride and groom. They live on a farm, and we were invited there yesterday for a swim. And they've got like a freshwater pond that's spring fed. And we went for a swim there yesterday, and then they had a campfire and hot dogs and hamburgers and sausages and whatnot last night. It was good, and a few beverages. That was good, and they had a campfire, so it was good.
Nice.
Good. Sounds. Glad you're having a good time out there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm glad I could make the show though.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's awesome.
Dude, man, fuck, we're stoked you're here. I was like, fuck, man, I miss Mark so much. I haven't seen him in a while.
I'm just gonna move into the shade here a little bit.
Sure thing.
Anywho, well, what about you, Aurora? How you been?
I've been good. Keeping busy. Things have been quite busy for me lately. Lots of shoots, actually, like shoots for the store, shoots for personal work, and also like wedding planning and stuff. It's like taking up every other thought in my mind. You know, I'll just like be casually talking about something with Andrew, and then all of a sudden I'll just slip in something about that I'm thinking in the back of my head about wedding planning, and he's just like, "What? What's that in relation to? How did that come out of your head kind of thing. But yeah, it's just where my mind's at. So I've been super busy with all of that. And then at the store, we're winding up for a inventory because we're having another inventory. So there's lots going on there as well.
Yay, inventory.
Yay, again.
So excited.
Yeah.
I can't say it too much. I mean, we get so prepared for it. It's really not that hard. It's like I was saying to Sean earlier, we have an easy job. Inventory for you is maybe not as fun because you're the manager, but I shall not complain. Sorry, Mark. I'm just gonna. I know you have people around you. I'm just gonna mute you while you're. Oh, you already did it. Jeez. Sorry. Oh, okay.
So bad.
The lighting is beautiful on your face, though, Mark. You look so young.
You got some color. You look European.
Yeah, it's just a sunburn. That's all. You know what I should do as a joke? Shave my beard now, and my teeth would all be white. Like, oh wait. Never mind. It is. Forget it.
Oh man, I was actually thinking about doing the same thing, but I don't want to be white just on the weird parts of my face.
I'm the reverse of you guys already. I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, Roy. I kind of cut you off there.
That's okay. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Right on.
Pretty much it. She says, shit. That came out really sounding funny. Anyway, that's pretty much it. She says, when in fact the portrait shoots that she's been doing at the store are so awesome. She did a Pride shoot. You did a Mother's Day shoot. No, Mother's was a while. Was it Father's Day shoot? Did you do? I wasn't there for these.
Yeah.
Right. So and it's just you're doing so well with those. I love them, and it's so cool that you're doing these, and I don't have to be there. I know it sounds really stupid, but it's like I'm so used to whenever there was an event that it was like, here, Brian, you do it before you, not with you.
Yeah.
So my brain is still getting wrapped around being able to not be there and have these things go on. I love it. You're so good.
Right on. Well, it's good. I'm glad to hear that you're keeping busy and doing what you do best and take photos and make them look cool as shit. I saw your I saw the Pride one that you did. That was really cool. I thought it was cool shit.
Thank you.
It's cool that your family comes too.
Yeah.
Your family
honestly,
supports you and you support them with it, and I love that.
Yeah.
I wish my family supported me.
Oh, that hurts just a little bit. Yeah, no, I was going to say, Roar, I love those portraits that you posted there for the Pride. They were awesome. Love those.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun making them, doing them.
Yeah, they looked fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Did the whole spatter background, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you make that background as well, or is that a bot?
Yeah,
nice.
I made that background. I went to Dollarama. I got some craft paint and I mixed it half with water, and I stood really close to the background so I didn't make a mess. And then just splattered it all over the background.
Nice.
Rainbow colors. If anybody who's listening is interested, you can check it out at my Instagram at Aurora R, like AURORAR photo. You can see the photos that I more recently posted. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Brian, what about you, man? What have you been up to aside from helping me get back into Planet Pointless?
Yeah, I'm so stoked for you on that, man. And I will bring the Yeti for you so you can use that as well. Now I've been up to a lot. I had my birthday, and it was awesome. My aunt gave me this. Check this out. This is Shelly's Aunt Linda, Auntie Lee. It's this really cool book that when you open it,
oh, neat.
Oh, cool.
What?
turns into a full-on drum set.
That's really cool.
Damn.
Really freaking cool.
Now, do you use a pair of chopsticks to play it, or what?
And I use Dixie's paws.
Oh, perfect. Video or it never happened.
Yeah. I had a great birthday. I worked during the day and then had Chinese food and gorged at night. That was the best I could possibly ask for. I love it. But a lot of other things have been happening. I've been shooting a lot of wrestling. I've been at a couple of Destiny shows. I was out in Cornwall. I was in Hamilton shooting, and it's not just getting more photos and doing that. It's meeting people that I hadn't known before, seeing wrestlers I had never met before, talking to other promoters, and Shelly coming with, and us having that time on the road, and it's just been really, really, really cool. And we know Jeffrey Cole, who shooting the indies. He had the opportunity to go shoot AEW, which is like the big wrestling federation right now, other than WWE. So because he did that, he recommended me to shoot out in Hamilton, and that was really cool. So he got to shoot his dream gig, and I got to travel and shoot another wrestling gig, which was really fun. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun. This past weekend was Canada Day weekend for Barrie Wrestling. I shot a 3-day event, 4,000 photos in the 3-day event. And that's what I'm working on today all day. This is going through those photos. So that's the problem. You say 4,000 photos, it sounds like a lot, but with a Z9 in high-speed burst, I don't think I can squeeze the shutter and take less than 3 or 4 pictures at a time. So, it's kind of, you take a lot of photos, but you don't really have to edit every single one, right? But the editing does take time. What, Mark, you're holding up cookies?
Yeah, I just had Chrissy's homemade peanut butter cookies dropped off here, so I'm doing good.
Yum.
I'm doing good. Yeah,
smile on his face too. He's just
I love it.
enjoying himself.
Anyway, that was it for me. It's fun shooting stuff, and I'm glad that everybody's been doing things and being productive. I mean, when we started the podcast, what have you been up to this week? Well, I did some adult drawing on my my table last night, or we didn't really have a whole lot that we were doing. And now it's like Mark's in BC and Aurora shooting all kinds of stuff, and it's great. And even Sean, you're back to skateboarding, man. You got to tell us what you've been up to.
Yeah, I'm actually, you know what, I went back, and I was telling Brian earlier, I went back on Saturday night. I was up till like 3-4 in the morning just in my office because I'm enjoying every second I can get in here. And I was just watching some old videos on YouTube of me and my buddies just, fucking around doing stupid shit, skateboarding and, being delinquents and degenerates, right? So Sunday I actually got out with a couple of buddies. We filmed some shit on like it's not like an older camera, but it's not like HD footage, if you catch what I'm saying. So I went really hard, like the hardest I've gone since fucking before the pandemic. Like I was fucking throwing myself at stairs and handrails, and I was just going nuts. So it was fun. I paid the price for it today and last night because my body was in extreme pain. It hurt to laugh, which sucks because I laugh a lot. So that sucks. Also, playing pool, for some reason, when I'm in pain, I'm a lot better at pool, which is weird, but somehow it makes sense. I don't understand it, but the logic is there somehow. Other than that, I mean, I've been, trying to sort this whole office mess out, getting the computer set up. Brian's been helping me with trying to get programs for video editing and all that other stuff, and, setting up with new mics and all that other stuff. Thank you, Brian from Henry's. You know who you are.
Brian from Henry's.
So yeah,
that's my guy from Henry's. He's the guy I use. Yeah, same guy.
Small
Weird.
world, dude.
Weird. And to think we're all on the same podcast together. How did that happen?
Imagine that.
Yeah, no, I'm stoked, man. I'm getting some new shit now for Planet Pointless, and me and John are slowly creeping up to coming back, and it's nice. I'm getting a little bit overhyped for doing our first episode, which is literally just going to be us catching up for like an hour and a half straight and talking about a bunch of dumb shit that we have no business talking about. So it's going to be fun, man. I'm stoked, and I can't thank Brian and Aurora enough, from Henry's fucking helping me out with all this stuff. So you guys are fucking saving my ass here, especially in terms of like, balling on a budget with these microphones and shit.
Yeah, this stuff is not cheap. And that's the thing I think Aurora and myself want to really get across to a lot of people. Henry's is really active right now in getting creators creating. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to have a huge budget sometimes, but it still costs money, right? It's not easy. So being able to walk into a store and just bend the ear and find out, options and things like that, I think it's a great place to start at least. And I'm glad that you're doing it, man. I mean, you've been doing the podcast thing for a long time.
Actually, this is going to be come August, I think, is going to be our 3rd year doing it.
Wow.
That's great. That's great. Well, good for you, man.
I know.
Happy to help.
I'm fucking pumped, dude. I can't wait to get back into it. Just fucking being a douchebag. Can't wait.
It's funny. We should tell everybody, like, this is calm down, Sean. On our show.
This is dumbed down, Sean. This is like, I took my Ritalin today, Sean. Like, this is how that goes.
And Aurora had a talk with Sean a little while ago. We were trying to say, dude, just be you, man. Like, it doesn't have to be like you're on 2 different shows. You can still talk the way you want to talk. And I mean, I put on purpose that this show is not for children. So
yeah,
you don't know where it's going to
go. Wait a minute. We're not for children?
Yes, I'm sorry. Okay, are we going to have to renegotiate a contract?
I'll stop posting it on all our primary school boards.
Oh, shit. All right. Well,
never did that.
With all that being said,
that's why we have so many views in Thailand.
Anyways, with that being said,
we should rate it XXX and see what kind of views we get.
Oh my! I tried that.
That would be weird.
I tried that with our naked
show put on Pornhub or something, and that would be weird as fuck.
Oh my! The algorithms are gonna love this episode.
If I just am randomly scrolling through one night because I'm bored and I find an episode of ours, I'm probably gonna burn.
Screen capture that. Screen capture that. I want to see.
Oh my god!
All right, artificially intelligent stuff. As you can see, that's my tag below. I'm artificially intelligent.
I noticed that earlier. I thought that was fucking hilarious. I was thinking about mine all day. I was like, I gotta come up with a funny tagline to go along with AI, and I was like, AI generated douchebag. Perfect. Deal. Speaking of AI, though. So this has been something that has interested me for the last little bit because do you remember a couple of weeks ago when we talked about I mentioned something about a podcast that I know of called Dudesy that's run by, created by, and posted and everything by an artificial intelligence, right?
I remember you talking about it.
Yeah. So today, I wanted to get into the impact that AI is having on human creativity and whether or not it's going to completely flush out human creativity. So I kind of want to ask you guys what you think about the concept of AI-generated art and AI-generated music and anything that involves some form of creativity that us as humans can use to make, music, art, take photos, go skateboarding, shit like that. What do you guys think about this AI shit going on?
Mark?
So it's interesting that that came up this week while my wife and I shot the wedding. And here's my take on it. I mean, AI generated art is interesting. If it's done right and you've done with the right detail, it's been good. And by right detail, I mean, it's what you input into it. So just like any computer, it's garbage in, garbage out. So if you're very vague in your description, when you're telling it what you want to generate, it won't generate you what you're thinking. So this is where a creative mind helps. The more creative information you give, the better result you're going to get. If you're very, very vague, if you're like, oh, I want a guy standing in a field and a girl standing in a field dressed for a wedding, you're going to get like a cake topper in a wheat field. You're not going to get mountains in the background. You're not going to get a steam train going by, tumbleweeds. You're not going to get birds. Like there's going to be nothing like that. You absolutely have to do that. So project managers will they'll never be able to use it because they're never detailed enough with their people. So developers and graphic artists and things like that they'll be able to use it to create the art, but a project manager will never be able to give it enough detail because they don't generally know what they want. They give a vague idea, as we know as photographers and creators. They'll give you a vague idea of what they're looking for, and then it's up to your mind to sort of run with it and then throw ideas back at them. That's sort of where that comes from. And then with that said, thinking about AI generating things like AI will never generate a wedding picture. It'll never generate a picture of a barbecue, a family reunion, because those are memories that you're capturing as a photographer. I'm capturing the bride, the groom. I'm capturing one of the groomsmen. And this is hilarious. Every time I tried to get him into a picture, he was half naked somewhere, right? So like it was hot. So it was on the wedding was on the farm.
Are you saying that he was hot, or it was just a hot temperature?
Well, yeah, he was a pretty good looking dude too, and he's tall. Like I don't often feel short in a crowd, and I was like the third shortest person out of all the groomsmen. So, but like you're not going to get like at one point like they had the irrigation going on the farm way across the field. I'm trying to get sunset shots of the whole wedding party. He comes running over. He's half stripped and he's soaked because he was playing in the irrigation sprinklers because they draw the water out of the spring fed pond, right? So, it's it was interesting, but you're never going to get that moment. Like the bride and groom were killing themselves laughing. Like they thought it was amazing. But AI isn't going to give you those memories. So that's sort of my take on it. Unless it becomes self-aware, and then we all better have 1 million sunblock. And yeah.
It's the rise of the Terminators, man.
That's right. That's right. Did they not learn anything from the Terminator movies?
Skynet will rise, dude.
Yeah. What day did Skynet go self-aware? It's coming.
Aurora?
So I think this is a very interesting topic. I think AI is a great tool to assist people who are already creative. So like you can kind of take your stuff probably to a much higher level than you would be expecting, utilizing a tool like AI. Whether it's, we tried the other day, Brian, not too long ago at our store, where we tried to basically use AI to help brainstorm some ideas. Right? Yes. When I say some, I mean like 100+ ideas. And you give them just like a general prompt. You give the AI a general prompt and, like a guideline of how many, suggestions you want from them or whatever it may be. And then it comes up with, a certain amount of topics to kind of go from. Now, we as, like creative people will look at those topics or, things that were suggested or whatever, and weed out the ones that, sound the same, could be filed under the same kind of topic, or whatever it may be. And then choose from there if we want to use any of those ideas, right? Using our creative thinking. And then also on top of that, using your creative thinking to take a different take on it. I saw the other day when I was scrolling through Instagram, someone was using AI to create a AI image from a video that they an AI video, like animated video from videos that they were taking on their phone at home, and they were trying to like create this like like a story with their phone, but they only had certain things to work with. So they used little cardboard cutouts that looked kind of like houses, and like sprinkled sparkles or snow or something on top of the houses, and did kind of like a panning shot around the boxes. And then they used AI to take that iPhone video of the cardboard boxes and actually turn it into houses in a snowy scape, and panning around those houses in the same way. So, that person was still very creative in setting up the houses exactly as they wanted it to look, and still creative and coming up with the whole concept for the video, but they didn't need to animate it themselves, right? They could take a video that they had already worked with and make something creative out of it. So I think it's a good tool. And you can certainly get some fun and interesting things out of AI, funny things for sure out of AI. But it also, in my opinion, will never, or it should never, take out human creativity in general. I think it's meant to take the creativity of a person to the next level by assisting them in whatever they may need. Just like photo editing too. I've seen AI in photo editing replacing, the sky on a particular photo or whatever it may be, and making it look, like totally dramatic, or just giving it a total different look. Either using images that they've created themselves or using images, pulled from the internet, obviously, that the AI has pulled and generated for us. So yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting with the AI doing the content swapping and things like that. Like Photoshop has had like content aware fill for quite some time, right? So if you're trying to take I used it on that photo I did of your car, Sean, when I stole the photo off Brian's site and edited out the hydro poles and the hydro lines and all that to make the image a little cleaner. That's a content aware thing. So in a way, it's a basic form of AI. But I'm sort of in control. Like you can actually tell it where you want to sample it from at times, like depending on how you use the tool, or it just samples from the area around it, which is good. Or I could have told it to sample off your car and then had like blue blotches or dark blue blotches.
But it looks bad.
But yeah, it looks really bad. But it's interesting. I think the trick is that we still need to be in control. And I mean, I joked about it becoming self-aware. But that's where the tipping point comes, is if we become a society that just allows the computers to do everything for us and we don't have to be creative, where does the creativity go at that point? Like, are there still going to be creatives? Are they still going to be appreciated? Or are people going to want that picture of the Northern Lights that I captured, or a picture of the Northern Lights that somebody described to an AI generator? Which one are they going to like better? One that I actually went and got eaten by 1,000 mosquitoes, or one that somebody sat and programmed into their MacBook, So that's my wife just scrunched up her nose when I said programmed into the MacBook. She's like,
yeah. Because it's a MacBook or because it's somebody programming it?
Oh man, what do you think?
I have a lot of thought on. I mean, there's so many different things. I could see a lot of people losing their jobs because of AI. A lot of people, actors, animators, voiceover people. I mean, I was just scrolling my Instagram, and there's an ad for this thing where a marketing person could literally just type in what they want, and this AI generated face will just read it for them, basically saying that, humans are too ugly. Let's give you pretty people now that will just read your things for you. So at me, Joe Blow, Daytripper photo owner, can say, hey, I want to do a Daytripper photo ad. I don't want to put my face on it because, I'm a homely old dude. So put on, some 19-year-old blonde girl to get up with a British accent and talk about how Daytripper photo can teach you photography, right? Like I could use all those things that brain is tuned into psychology wise through AI much easier than hiring a model, scripting it, and doing all this stuff. I could literally just put in keywords and this beautiful face will read my script. So that whole side of the world I'm really, really scared for, career wise. As far as my own personal impact, what it might have on what I would do as a photographer, if that's something that I would pursue. Like right now, 2023 has been great, making money shooting wrestling all over Ontario and stuff like that. But who knows how long that's going to last? Like, who knows how long I want it to last? So realistically, is it going to affect me? I highly doubt it, because my editing, I like to make my pictures look almost surrealistic. I like that bold color feel. I mean, it's just kind of my color blindness made me feel this way, but it just very, very slight, by the way. I'm not like blind. Everybody's like, oh, could you see this? Like, yes, I can see that. It's red. Anyway. But the whole side of the way I edit is now being influenced by AI with the noise removal tools and the ability for Lightroom to, which I will never do, have somebody like wearing a Berry Club shirt or something, and then have it just literally, the tool can do this today. I could literally take that shirt and turn it into any other kind of thing I want it to be. I can take this expressions thing in the back here and make it completely different if I want to. I can completely change things around in a photo with tools to do crazy things. Just replace the skies, like Aurora said earlier. Replace skies, replace foregrounds, backgrounds. I can do those things if I want to. It's not for wrestling photography. I think there's no point to it. You know, there's no reason for it. So why would I do it? If I were a wedding photographer, there definitely could be. You know, if the dress wasn't really white and you want it to be white, or who knows what you want the dress to look like, right? Yeah. With the tools in Lightroom and Photoshop right now, you're, like Mark said, it's infinite what you could do with a photo at this point if you know how to do it. If you're Matt Klosglowski or Scott Kelby or these guys that know everything about editing, you can do anything. For me, not interested. I'll use AI for noise removal, like cloning things out of a photo, that kind of a thing. But I'm not an additive photographer. I'm a subtractive photographer. I don't like to put in extra stuff. Like our friend Joe LeDuc. I love Joe. Love Joe. Guy's just one of the most creative men I've ever met in photography. Nicest guy ever. But he does a lot of composite work where he'll put butterflies in and other things. And I respect that he could do it. I just have no interest in doing those things. You know what I mean? Composite work has always been this AI world anyway. But now they're just making it so much easier to do it. Mark?
Yeah, agreed. It's interesting because when I was learning Photoshop in college, a lot of the images that they had us create were composites. Like you would literally give us a folder of images and say, create an image using the elements that are in this folder. We could use as few or as many as we wanted. I mean, of course, I went whole hog making crazy things with elephants wearing Scottish hats and Andrea Doria sinking, and it was just crazy in the desert. You know, just that's actually an image that I created, but it was it was sort of too much, almost like but now that I have a chance to do that, anytime I do a composite, I'm adding one element that I wanted to see in it. Like I did an image of an old dilapidated burger stand, and it was just missing something. It was like a sunset, and it was kind of creepy looking. And all I did was went and found an image of a crow, and I perched the crow on the corner of the burger stand. And I just did that in Photoshop just so that there was that one thing. And you had to zoom in to see it, but the crow had a slightly glowing red eye. And that was just something I did. But that's sort of as composite as I get. Like I'm adding a couple of subtle things, but I don't want to do a whole composite image. Like it's got to be mostly my photography.
Yeah. And that's the difference in what we would do versus what somebody who'd be put out of business with the AI would do, right? Stock photography. That's another thing. I mean, I'm just talking about photography, but in the world itself, AI could be very detrimental to a lot of people's careers, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of people who are in like the world of like data entry and that kind of thing. Can be like scared and worried about that type of thing because a lot of that stuff can be automated. However, there always has to be somebody behind the scenes, right? There always has to be a person who's going to check over things and make sure that, that it's done the right way. And then also, can AI like pull stuff from emails and then put it into the right spot that you need it to? Like yes, I can understand why people are worried whether AI is going to take over jobs. I mean, there are there are versions of that in our day-to-day basis. Like if you go to the grocery store, there's not many grocery stores now that don't have a self-checkout, right? Whereas before, you'd always have somebody cashing you out, right? And I'm guilty of using the self-checkout quite frequently,
All the time.
because it's quick and it's easy,
And you don't have to rely on people.
you don't have to
You have
rely
to
on
talk to
people.
It's a good thing for introverts. I love it.
Yeah, I
And
get that. And during COVID, like it blew up even more because lots of people wanted to just avoid, interactions with people, because they didn't want to get sick, right? Less interaction, the better in those cases. But I understand where people come from when they're worried about it, but then at the same time, there's like things are a lot more complicated than that. Like you need someone behind the scenes, like to make sense of all the information, and someone behind the scenes to tell the AI to grab this and this from there and input it into there, right? Or whatever it may be. So there always will be certain aspects of that, that could impact people negatively, but at the same time, that just might modify and change people's current jobs, right? Like even though they're self-checkouts, most of these self-checkouts have 2 or 3 attendants standing there, to assist if the computer isn't working or whatever it may be. So it's just changing how things, how your responsibilities.
not the river. I'm talking
Yeah.
with
But and it's interesting you say that because I mean, back in the 40s and 50s, they didn't have computers that welded cars together in assembly plants. It was human beings that did all the welding and the putting on parts. And now they've got computer controlled arms, computer controlled welders. Painting is done by robots and things like that. But all of those take people to maintain them and to build them originally and to program them and things. So AI may remove some of that. And you don't want to say it'll never happen, right? Like self checkouts. I mean, I always said the business I used to work for would never have self checkouts, and then I was the guy installing them. So, but it got to a point where it shifts the labor force. Where we have to watch is that if you've seen the movie WALL-E, that we don't go to that point where we're just a bunch of lumps floating around on chairs while computers and robots do everything for us.
I like how you say
I
WALL-E.
love that movie.
I mean that was a good version, a good interpretation of what could happen. My interpretation is more idiocracy.
Yeah.
That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah.
And in that movie, basically, the world just devolves because we don't have to think, we don't have to do anything anymore. So everybody turns into lumps sitting in their couch with everything being fed to them, and they don't have to do a thing. And they're just a bunch of lazy, stupid. And a normal average person today would be the smartest person on earth then, because you don't need to be smart if you don't have to think, right? And I see that happening. I mean, from when I was a kid to today, dude, when I was a kid, if there was a Pokemon Go game, there would never have been somebody walking out into traffic.
I forgot about that. Oh my God.
You know, like the world has devolved. Intelligence has changed. Logic
they
is
thought
no
they were
more.
playing Grand Theft Auto Go, not Pokemon Go.
It's just, it has changed. And I don't care what anybody says. It's definitely changed. The level of intellect is different. Nobody goes to the Encyclopedia Britannica anymore to learn something. They go to CNN or Fox or Google or all these places that need to be fact checked. Let's just say, need
worse,
to be.
Or
right?
worse, they look
Or
for
worse.
their information on Facebook.
Which
Oh,
is
no.
now in Canada not legal for
Guilty.
news. Yeah. Yeah, and this is the world we're living in now. So if this is where people are learning their facts from, or learning the identity of what is fact and what isn't fact, then I can see AI being a complete changeover to a whole new world of working. There's going to be a transitionary period where people like me are not fighting it, but just kind of like remembering before it and appreciating the difference between what AI is and what normal is to the next generation, you and Aurora, Sean and Aurora, who are now, living with it from a young age, to the next generation who are born into it and don't know any different. And from that generation on, we're in a new era. We're in a completely new way of thinking. And, 3 or 4 generations from now, we're in idiocracy world.
Mhm.
That's my interpretation. Whether it helps us or hurts us is irrelevant. Humans are still going to be humans. Humans are still going to be trying to live and trying to afford life and trying to get jobs doing things and learning new skills to do the jobs they have to do. Humans will adapt and evolve with it. But where they're going to evolve to, that's the scary point. That's what I'm nervous for. And I'm just happy I'm not going to be around to see it because, I've got, how many years left in me. And by then, who knows what the world's going to be like. But I'm certainly not going to be around to see Idiocracy. God, I hope I'm not around to see Idiocracy. I really hope I'm not.
Oh, man.
Wall-E was actually interesting at points. Idiocracy was just sad.
Yeah, well, I mean, Wall-E is a surprisingly sad movie for what a lot of people consider a kids movie. But I think that's really good that this movie has been shown to a younger audience as well. And it came out when it did. Funnily enough, Andrew and I have a Roomba we got as a Christmas gift last year. And our Roomba is named Wall-E because we just love, that movie. And then there is a connection to it. And that's always in the back of our head, right? Like we don't ever want to get to, as people, we don't ever want to get to that point. However, it's a cute little joke, right?
It is. See, we have two. We have two, one for upstairs, one for downstairs. And they're named R2D2 and the T800.
That's awesome.
I was just going to say, I remember Mark saying something about his 2 Roombas.
Yeah.
Their names are fucking great, too.
Yeah. I like Wall-E for the name.
Yeah.
It's funny. Whenever I think of doing a show, the first thing I want to do, and it's obvious through our past shows, is I like to look at the origin of words.
Yeah.
What is AI? What is artificial intelligence? What is creativity? Can they be synonymous? Can artificial intelligence be creative?
Mm-hmm.
That's a bigger question. I don't think it's called creativity. I think it's just computational. It's just
and again, that's where in the current state, no, it needs somebody to be creative to drive it for them.
That's right. It is not creative.
And this is where I say that's where I wonder if you can order 1 million sunblock yet, because if it becomes self-aware and it starts making decisions, is it going to make decisions beyond being creative into other things? And I think as a society, as a culture, as a race, we need to be very careful where we tread with this technology and what we let it tap into. But then here's on the other side of it, because humans get creative, and that's how there's hackers, right? They think their way around a firewall. They think their way through a back door. And will artificial intelligence do that at the onset, or will it be something it can learn? And my wife just said that if you get a second Roomba, Aurora, you need to name it Eve.
Yeah, Andrew's already joked about that.
Yeah.
If we get a second one for our next floor, we're gonna name it Eve.
Yeah. But I think we need to be the human race needs to be very, very cautious with AI and what we decide is cool to let it do.
Well, let's look a little further and ask ourselves, what does the word intelligence mean? Is this even intelligence? Intelligence has been defined in many ways: the capacity for abstraction, logic, understanding, self-awareness, learning, emotional knowledge, reasoning, planning, creativity, critical thinking, and problem solving. More generally, it can be described as the ability to perceive or infer information and to retain it as knowledge to be applied toward adaptive behaviors within an environment or context. Can a computer ever do that? Can it do the self-awareness, critical thinking, problem solving, retain that knowledge and use it towards adaptive behaviors within an environment or context. I don't even know if we can call this artificial intelligence, at least at this point.
But with it being artificial intelligence, that changes how that changes what intelligence means, right? Putting the artificial in front of it, I think changes
Makes it fake.
Makes it fake, exactly.
Yeah. And I think that needs to be clarified for people.
Yeah.
Just because it's artificially intelligent, just like my little word right here, I'm artificially intelligent. It doesn't mean that it's smart. It doesn't mean that it's.
That's a really, really good point. That, you know, but does also intelligence also mean, you know, that it can exhibit empathy or caring as well, right?
Right.
So what happens in the future? Like, again, we can never say never, because, you know, especially with computers, things evolve so quickly. Like, thinking back to the computers that put the Apollo lander on the moon, were bigger than the house behind me. And now there's more computing power in the phone that I'm streaming this on than there was in those computers. So we have to be careful with how the technology advances and saying what we think it can and cannot do, because I think the possibilities are really infinite. But even when they talk about self-driving cars, those are cars that are making decisions based on input, right? So it'll register a red light and say, that's a red light, I have to stop. It's a yellow light, I have to stop. But if it's a yellow light, how close am I? Do I try and stop before the intersection, or, you know, am I too close and I have to go through? You know, if something comes into play, like, there are so many variables, but it also depends on how we program it to interpret the data that is given, and what sources of data does it have.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the challenge. But then this is where, you know, and again, I'll joke about Terminator. If we get it to a point where it can start to build things instead of just art, and actually, you know, hey, I want you to build a robot vacuum, and artificial intelligence does that and 3D prints it and assembles it, then the next step is potentially Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have any of you guys seen Mitchell's versus the Machines?
No.
If you have Netflix, you should watch it. It's on Netflix.
I just canceled Netflix. Yes.
Oh, okay. I have the DVD, Brian. I'll loan it to you.
Okay. Now I'm so happy. I canceled Netflix and I registered for IWTV.
There you go.
Wrestling television.
Oh.
So I could watch Barry Wrestling. I could watch Destiny Wrestling. I could watch all these companies I've been shooting for. I could watch wrestling all across the whole country and the world. All these independent wrestling television is what it's called. So sorry, I babbled for a second.
That's awesome.
Anyways, so while we were chatting, I was kind of off doing my own fucking thing. Also, I don't know can you hear the dogs at all?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they're going fucking mental, and I'm sorry.
Well, I thought it was here, but Max is gone. He went for a walk.
There you go. So I'm going to share my screen quickly, if that's cool with y'all, because I'm going to show you stuff. Don't show these tips again. I don't care, StreamYard. Thanks. Share. Oh, yeah. No, click.
You said tips. Tips, right?
Yeah, I said tips.
You said tips, yeah, with a T.
Oh, wow, that's terrifying. Okay, so y'all can see the background on my computer, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is a photo taken by a friend of Brian and mine. His name is Mike, Shutter Speed Disorder. He came by to the Corolla meet that I ran just this past Saturday in Newmarket. So this is a photo we took here in Newmarket, right beside the No Frills on Leslie there. And to me, this is like, aside from Brian's photos, right? Like, Brian and Mike are the only two guys, in town that I would, realistically trust with the taking a photo of my car and making it look pristine, right? Like, my car has never looked this fucking cool, especially with, this little reflection here in the paint, right, of like the sunset. So like, to me, this is wild, right? This to me is Mike and or Brian. Like, I can pull up Brian's
that's okay
right here, right, of my car, another one, right? So it's another cool way of like them being like, this is how I see Sean's car, right? Like, and to me, this is fucking wild. I can't get enough of these photos, like at all. This one specifically, I fucking love it. So what I did was I dicked around a little bit, and I was thinking about basically what was it? Fucking Back to the Future, right? And what my car would have looked like as the time machine instead of the DeLorean. So what I did was I went to an AI generator, and this is what I typed in. This is what I got. I typed in Galactic Aqua. Well, I misspelled Galactic because I'm a fucking idiot. And then Toyota Corolla hatchback time machine. And this is what the AI spat the fuck out. So,
What?
yeah. So this is it. Well, I kind of did it in like a video game kind of like weird thing. It was weird. I don't
Like
understand
an
it.
8-bit graphic or something?
Yes. I don't know. It was like if it was a video game kind of thing. It was
Okay.
weird. I was just
Neat.
fucking around with it.
Neat.
So,
It'd be cool though if you could put your car in, and then it could spit out.
yeah.
You know,
Did any of you guys do that trend that a lot of people were doing where they took their took AI photos of them? Like you basically put photos of yourself, I think it's like 5
Yes.
example images or whatever, and
Yes.
created AI images of yourself. I did that too. I have some here actually in the background.
Cool.
If I were to do like Spider-Man,
Can I screen share?
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. Here, let me take mine off. Or can I just like switch it? Oh, you can just do that.
Yeah,
Perfect.
you can leave it.
Even better.
Why are you muted, Sean? Sean, you're muted. I can't hear you.
Sorry, I was about to type. Sorry. Oh, that's fucking cool, man.
Yeah, so I did this at the beginning of the year when it was like that trend, and I had never really shared it anywhere, but I thought it was interesting. There was a bunch of images that came up, and they were like, it didn't look like me at all, but I got 30 or so, I think it was like 45 or 50 images that I was like, that actually is okay. It kind of looks like me. This one was a little off. But yeah, which I thought was interesting because the photos that I included didn't have this many poses, didn't have this many angles of my face. But yet it still kind of looked like me, even though,
That's fucking crazy.
yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
That's like
your hair. Holy
blue
shit.
hair. Yeah. I'm
That's-
like, okay, I could probably do.
Oh, you could be a gamer with that.
That is really, really interesting result.
Screen photo.
I've had red hair like that before. Or like copper hair. I'm definitely
Yeah,
gonna
the
do my
results
hair.
are interesting for sure. But and again, though, this is where I said at the onset of the show, like if you're creating art based on yourself, that's one thing. But most pictures that we take, like Brian does the wrestling, I'm doing weddings, you're doing portraiture, they're memories, they're events, they're
I love
things
this
that
one.
AI isn't. It's not gonna. You're not gonna say, oh, I remember when this picture was taken. I remember what we were all laughing at. It's not that. I mean, they're cool images. And I could see it being used for if somebody wanted to AI generate, as Brian said, a model for an ad or something like that, and then not have to pay a model residuals or like often graphics that are up, like posters that are up in businesses. The contract expires and you have to pull it down, otherwise they have to continue paying the models. So it would eliminate that part of it. So there is definitely implications for losing a whole sector of employment.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to find one of the photos that I did of myself for my. I have an Instagram account where I can post things like I don't give a fuck kind of stuff.
That's
It's
like my
called-
entire Instagram account.
It's called Dillygaff42. And I did a steampunk version of my face for it. And there's no way I'm going to find it. I just know it. But if I'm going to keep looking, if I find it, I'll show. But no, it's like what you're saying, Aurora. You could take an image of yourself and how you see yourself is all one way, and then you give your a rough idea of what to create you into, and you turn
Yeah.
into this totally different, awesome super cool thing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Do you have the link to that actually, Aurora? Can you like send it to the chat so I can try and I'm gonna try and like make an AI photo of myself in a Spider-Man outfit so I look cool as fuck.
I was telling Shelly about your Spider-Man outfit.
I honestly
I'm getting a new one
remember what
actually. I'm kind of
used.
excited about it.
I wonder if you can use I can't remember what I used. It was like a phone app. But yeah, if I figure it out, then I'll send it. If not, like I wonder if you could use like GPT or whatever. Or DALL-E or DALL-E?
Dolly?
DALL-E? Yeah, there's
Sure.
another one that's like Salvador Dali. It's like an art AI. I wonder if you can use that as a way to generate it.
There's so many cool things you can do. I really do hope though that when it does hit, like I know it's already there, and it's all my editing software. I mean, AI is in so many things that we already use today. I just hope that when it's really, really big, it is something that becomes usable. It stays into something like even the internet technically has that same kind of end game in my mind as what this does. You know, as soon as I heard the internet, I thought, oh, great. You know, the masses are going to be clinging to this like everything. And it's true, but it's also being used for really good things. Right. So I just hope that things are used for good.
So I guess do you guys have any like final thoughts before we close out, or are we tapped out?
Yeah, I just had Chris order some 1 million sunblock off of Amazon, so it should be at my house when I get home.
I gotta get a Terminator statue now. Like you're making me want to like get into Terminator collectibles now. You're fucking with me, man. Jesus.
Forget about the Terminator collectibles. Just learn how he lived, how he survived.
Right?
Because you're gonna need those tricks.
Look up Sarah Connor and away you go.
There you go. Cool. I'm gonna have to get right on that. I'm gonna have to look up Arnold's like workout regimen too. Get on.
Yeah, for sure.
Just fucking.
As far as AI goes, I think that it'll be interesting. The next couple of years are really going to tell a lot.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
And where they take it and what regulations they put on it, and how they utilize it. That's all going to be determined within the next couple of years, I think. So, and if nothing is determined, then it's going to be a shit show. Otherwise,
yeah. But I mean, if it really works, maybe they can actually design a submarine that'll get tourists to the Titanic.
Oh, too soon. Wow.
Hey, all I know is if I spent $250,000 to go see the Titanic and I never made it there, I'd be crushed.
Aurora's losing it.
You are a fucking comedic genius. You should stand up, not me.
Yeah. You know. Actually, it's funny if you eat East Coast Atlantic salmon that's fresh caught now, you actually have a chance to eat the rich right now.
And you know, I have no sympathy for it.
Well, I mean, because they were trying to be tourists on a.
I have sympathy for the son.
Yeah. That family that lost too. I mean, I should clarify. Do I feel bad that people died? Absolutely. People shouldn't have died. But when all of the industry experts were saying, "Don't do it," and they did it.
Yeah, I feel really bad for the son.
Yeah,
the son. Yeah, because he didn't. Everything says he didn't want to go. Yeah,
and you know, like. He wanted to go because his father wanted to go, and Father's Day was really sad. It's really sad.
But
stupid people.
Yeah. Anyways,
with that said, father-son quality time though.
Yeah.
The rest of eternity.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. That was
if somebody wanted to fucking take me to go see the Titanic in a giant metal dildo controlled by a Logitech controller, I mean, like, come on.
Common sense. This is my point exactly.
You watch a video of a dude sitting like this. The good news is they didn't even know what happened, right? That
I guarantee they knew. I guarantee they saw seams starting to go.
No. They would have heard some creaking, and then it would have been lights out. There would have been no water rushing in. There would have been no nothing. It would have been done like a millisecond.
Squished like an ant under the foot.
Just destroyed. But anyways. All right, guys.
How did that come up in an
On
AI
that
conversation?
epic bombshell,
Wow. Gee, squirrel.
on that colossal disappointment.
Any other closers?
Aurora?
If you get the chance to watch Mitchell's versus the Machines, I would recommend it. It's kind of like a take on AI taking over the world, but in a hilarious kids movie, and the way that the
Mitchell's versus
family
Machines. There you go.
the way that the family helps the world and helps other people is the fact that they're so random and weird and creative. I think it's just a great tie-in for the show. So I feel like you should watch it.
Yeah,
All right.
definitely not Robot. Don't watch it.
I've got 2 questions for you guys before we go.
Yeah.
Question 1. When will you accept AI? What will you need to see to accept AI and be like, okay, this is a good thing?
I think I'll accept it when AI creates a radioactive spider that will bite me and give me proper powers.
That's all you want. You just want to be Spider-Man.
Bite me.
Mark?
I think for me, it would have to be AI used for the good of humanity. If they can use AI to create something that will better humanity, whether it be some sort of a cure for cancer or an artificial heart that can be grown in a lab, or a cure for diabetes or something like that. If AI can do that, I will embrace it. If AI is just misused to make internet memes and cheesy looking videos, then I'm not going to really embrace it. But if it's used for good purposes, then I think I'm going to take it, and then we can give it the right to vote, and we'll be good.
Aurora?
I think it's dependent on the end user. For me, like if there's so many people out there using AI for like silly things or whatever, or things that could potentially be bad or whatever it may be. But I still think it is acceptable and it's good in the hands of people who are using it to better themselves creatively and whatnot. So it's not so much when, as much as it is who's using it. For me. Yeah.
Good answer.
Right on.
For me, it is when there are laws in place controlling it, what you could do with it.
That makes sense.
As soon as I see
Asimov's 5 laws of robotics.
Where's George Carlin when you need him?
I was just watching a lot of George Carlin, but we just talked about that on our comedy episode. So, but no, that's what I would need to see. I'd need to see that it's controlled. I'd need to see that it's regulated globally, not just in America, North America. You know what I mean? Like literally in China and Russia and all these places that are just bastards sometimes with their technology and their willingness to use it against other people. That's what I need to see. Now, when will you fear it? That's my second question.
I fear it now already. Like as Mark said, not to jump back to the Terminator so much, but fuck, I'm waiting for the rise of the machines so I can get my tan on.
That's what you would have to say. You could get a 10. We would all nuke. You would get a 10.
Live and be like, wait, where is everybody?
Those little powder singes dust on the floor,
Just
pile.
Just like molten skeletons everywhere, and I'm like,
and then Sean's like,
time to go to the grocery store, free food.
What a guy. Mark, when would you fear it?
Oh, I think if I would fear it if it was making decisions for us, if it was one of those things where people would just like, you know what, should I or shouldn't I, and let's throw it to the AI, or even if the AI took over and was making decisions before we could, that would be bad.
Yes, that would be really bad for sure. Aurora?
I think similar to what Mark was saying for sure. I just fear someone using it in the wrong way. Like, I mean, I feel like in a way that I already fear the technology. I just what I fear most is like either a person abusing it or a person abusing it to an extent and using it for a bad reason. That's what I fear, and the possibilities there, right? Like anyone can access it, and to Brian's point earlier, once there's laws in place or there's something limiting it in the background, like if someone programs this AI so that they can't do anything bad as a result of it, then that would be good, right? But I don't know what the limits of the programs are that are.
Well, I can. Is it me or is it Aurora?
I think it's Aurora.
Oh, okay. Sometimes it's my internet that pooches out a bit.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I get that. And I agree with all that. I think what would scare me is when I start to see AI create the gesture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I'm a wildlife photographer and I am photographing an owl and the owl's flying across and all of a sudden the sun is in the right place. The owl turns and looks at me just at the right way and, you know, just tips its wing just a little bit. That's the photo I end up with. That's the gesture. That's the difference between the frame before and the frame after, that me as a creator can pick out and say, this is the photo I want to share, right? Or in wrestling, when a wrestler jumps out of the ring and lands in a table and his arm is smushed against the table and he's horizontal in the air with the table breaking around him. When AI generates images like that and is able to be as purposeful as, you know, here I go to a wrestling event and take these pictures, that's when it means that my photography is no longer good or needed or used anymore, right?
When you mentioned gesture, I was like when AI starts sending you like videos of just like one of these, I was like, I'd be scared too, man.
That's when I would name the AI Steve. Steve at work, we send each other, you know, those GPS things where it's like you open it and it's like the globe and then it zooms in and there's a dude going,
yeah.
those are the things I like to send.
Oh fuck. All right. Well, I mean, we lost Aurora. That's a
Yeah, we lost Aurora. So, anyways, guys, I've got to get going too.
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right. Well,
it's been a great show.
Good seeing you, Mark. Fuck, I'm glad you came by, dude.
Just don't take off quite yet, Mark. Hang on one second.
Oh yeah, yep.
You gotta stop it all. Okay.
Just say bye to everybody. And I just want to say one quick thing to you before you take off. And that's it. Sean, anything you want to say?
Other than all this AI stuff, be sure to follow us, Expressions the Podcast, on Instagram and on Facebook. And I think, do we have any other social medias? I'm pretty sure we do.
We're all over the place.
All over the place.
Go to our link tree. They'll see everything.
You look us up. You'll find it. You guys are smart people. I'm sure you'll figure it out. And anyways, with that all being said, done, and out of the way, thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Expressions the Podcast. Really glad you guys are here and taking the time to listen to us. And yeah, there you go. Be genuinely good people and be as creative as you possibly can, humanly possibly can. and, oh, look, Aurora's back. Perfect.
I'm back.
We're closed out now.
Yeah, we're just saying goodbye.
Okay.
Anyways, said and done. Thank you again for listening, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Ooh.